Hello, Durud and Shalom. Guys, as soon as I saw this video, I thought we should watch this together. So I didn't watch it because I wanted to watch it with you guys. Because look at this. Look at this frame. It's the mix of the most toxic anti-American ideas in America. The only thing that this is missing is Mamdani in the middle. It would be perfect. We will have Islam, fascism, far right, woke rights, and then we will have communism, far left. They should have invited Mamdani, and this picture would have been perfect. It would basically be all of the worst ideas in the same room. Missed opportunity. But this is good that we at least have two of them. So they're talking. And when two of the biggest American heroes of the worst ideas, the most anti-American Americans meet with each other and talk with each other, we should pay attention. The most illiberal, anti-liberty ideas, the greatest enemies of liberty are represented by these people. These two people more than most people. So we should pay attention. And so here, you're welcome. I brought it to you guys. And guys, and this channel, we do a really good job responding to this nonsense. So yeah, make sure you follow if you're new here. So let's see what they had to say. And whenever there needs to be, and guys, let me know if my audio is good, and let me know if you have liked the stream. Great. I see my favorite people are already here. Hello, hello. And yeah, once I play the video, let me know if you have the audio of the video as well.
3 years. Over 3 years.
Wow.
And
did we start from the beginning?
Buddy, welcome back. This is my first stream back on YouTube in 3 years. Over 3 years.
Wow.
And essentially the guy that was not responsible, but part of the reason Hey. Part of the reason I got banned was because the collaboration. It is true. I got 2 strikes, and then the first one back here is with the same man, Nick Fuentes. Welcome back.
Up? Good to be back.
Yeah, happy to be here on YouTube. Sorry, we had party difficulties. I think the groypers were too deep, and it seems like the website was working fine earlier. I just did a stream on party, but it's just the motion. The generational run is crazy right now. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good. I'm chilling.
Should we explain why I have a tux on and you don't?
Yeah, let's do it.
So there was just an inaugural ball pretty close by, and it was the Young Republicans event. Baton was speaking there. He was hosting. I was luckily invited, and so was Nick. And then, what happens to Nick happens. What happened?
Yeah, well, they said I might be able to go, which they do every year at NYYRC. They say, well, we're working on it. We might be able to get you in. And they told me I was invited. I was going to be in the VIP section. I'm going to be a guest. And then, as usual, they canceled me. They disinvited me. They told me I can't come. I guess there was going to be a big revolt in the club if I was going to be there. But I already had my stuff booked. So I said, fuck it. I'll just come to New York and ball out anyway.
We got to hang out. We just had a nice dinner. Out of 10, how was it?
That was a 10 out of 10.
That was a 10? Let's go.
10. Mm-hmm.
That's good. Always good to catch up with Nick. It's always cool to see you when you're here in the city. And I'm glad you came, man. It's a white Christmas. It's snowing outside.
Yes.
Yeah. Is Nick going to mention, because this guy, according to Nick, is part of the problem. He's a Muslim. He wants America to be a Christian theocracy. Sneako believes that it's okay to have intercourse with 9-year-olds. He's already defended that because that's what his prophet has done. So I wonder if Nick is going to mention any of that.
Yeah,
I love Christmas. What do you?
I mean, and also, is Sneako going to push back on Nick because he wants to turn America into a Christian theocracy, which is going to be not a very friendly place for Muslims to live under Nick's vision of America? Are they going to talk about any of that? That's what I'm wondering.
Me too.
I love Christmas. I always repeat that all the time. People are upset. I said Christmas I did kind of rage bait a bit. I said it was a goy slap holiday, but there are some traditions in there. Like there's no evidence, for example, that Christmas is Jesus' birthday, correct?
No, there's Christians who would argue that he was born on the 25th of December.
There's no biblical evidence of that, right?
I don't know. I mean, this is an argument that's been going on a long time, and books have been written about it. I haven't brushed up on the arguments why Christmas has to do with trees and is on the 25th and all that, but there's Catholics that have defended that.
Okay.
I don't know the arguments though.
Yeah, I was talking about how, the materialistic aspect of it, buying presents, the reindeer has nothing to do with Jesus.
Well, the presents are biblical because the Magi give the gifts.
But it's been commercialized a lot. That's my point.
Yeah, Charlie Brown. Yeah,
okay.
It's America. We buy stuff. We like to buy shit.
By the way, the Magi were Persian.
That's my point, is that it's a holiday, but it's become more of a cultural thing than a religious thing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that to an extent, but the religion is the core of it. Without the Christ in the center of it, it loses its meaning. Because at the end of the day, Christmas isn't just about the trees and the ornaments and the gifts. It's about, even all the movies, it's about the spirit of Christmas.
It is. I love the Christmas spirit is palpable. You can see it in New York right now. I love it. I love the lights. I like the trees. I like the spirit. I love the family time. My family's Catholic. I go to church. I go to mass with them. I love it. But also today was SantaCon, and did you get to see some of SantaCon? My point is that culturally, right, like all these people come in from Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut to get drunk in Midtown, put on Santa hats, and then do a bar crawl. That's the part where it becomes less religious and just more of a cultural thing, similar to most other American, like St. Patrick's Day, an excuse to get drunk.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's like degenerates out there, but I view that as like a deviation from what Christmas really is. I mean, it's like Halloween. People do that on Halloween.
I like Halloween. Halloween is a satanic holiday, but I like it. See, people,
but it didn't used to be.
Then you're not properly Muslim, because that's shirk. That's shirk.
It's the night before All Saints Day is where it comes from.
Isn't that the day like right before all the evil spirits are outside, right before the Saints Day?
Something like that, yeah. Because November 1st is All Saints Day. It's a holy day of I think it's a holy day of obligation. So, and that one, there's like a lot of Catholics who will say you should dress up as like saints for Halloween. I'm like, that's really lame though. Like there was this Catholic guy named Mike Voris who I talked to once, and he said, on Halloween, we should dress.
Yeah, also we got a super chat saying, you mentioned he's Muslim, but he's also black, and Nick sees them as inferior. Yeah, I wonder, you're right, actually. I wonder if Sneako is going to bring that up, or they're just going to keep talking about Christmas. That's a good point, Avi.
Up like popes and the apostles and the saints. I'm like, yeah, but kids want to be like Anakin. Kids want to be like a Transformer.
Spider-Man.
Or Ninja Turtle. Like that's kind of, don't all the saints, aren't you just going to be in like medieval clothes anyway? It's like all going to be the same costume. So,
and then the adults, it's turned into, you see what the women wear, you see.
Yeah. It's a big horror holiday.
But regardless.
All right, so they both consider women liberation to be degeneracy and stuff like that. They don't like women wearing sexy stuff.
Of Christmas and the event today, which was I had fun there.
That's what they could unite on, calling anything sexy degenerate. I think that's what this is the Christian right and the Islamic right. That's what they could far right actually, because there's nothing wrong with being right leaning. But yeah, these are both far right people.
I enjoyed it. You should have came.
I wish I
No, that sucks. That's very unfortunate. But you've been on a crazy run this year since it feels cool to be back on YouTube. First saw you 3 years ago. You were there knifing the camera, and you were talking about how horrors are ruining society. And I'm like, this is dope. I sent you the first clip recently where I first saw you, and I always had a positive reaction. We did a lot of streams on YouTube.
Yeah, the fascist and the Muslim agreeing on how degenerate women are and how much they hate women. This part is predictable. This is what brings them together. The thing that brings them together, the Muslims and the woke right, is their hatred for women and hatred for Jews. That's what brings them together. But are they going to talk about the things that separates them? Oh, also maybe hatred for gay people.
I was really at the peak of my popularity, and then kept doubling down, tripling down. And now you're here. You've had a crazy, crazy year. It's coming to a close. The beefs are warming up, but not only that, it seems like the pushback has quadrupled in a response to how much you're growing.
Yeah, well, it always goes like that. It's always like I do really well, I blow up, I'm getting popular. And then in equal measure, the pushback and resistance and the haters, the attacks, then kind of trails that just slightly. So, yeah, no, it's been an unbelievable year. I mean, and I guess the way that I look at it is similar to you, I was on a trajectory where I started in 17 and it was all on the up, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then I got nuked from orbit after 21, after J6. I got banned from everything.
No fly lists, bank accounts.
Yeah, the whole deal. And it took me like 4 years to claw my way out of that. And the country changed, you know, because of the pandemic and BLM and all that stuff. The country literally changed. And for the first time, censorship moved in the opposite direction, where it's opening up instead of closing down. And so 2025 was the first full year that I'm on Twitter. My clips aren't banned on Instagram. I can go on YouTube like we are now as a guest. Consequently, people were ready for the message at the same time. So it's kind of just like the perfect storm.
Everything coming at the same time. And you've had a lot of huge collabs recently. So you're coming. Last time I saw you, I remember bringing up Tucker Carlson, and it was like, yeah, something. And I didn't sense right there, okay, he's going to go on the Tucker Carlson podcast. And then we had Thanksgiving dinner. We had shared Thanksgiving dinner together. And there, I became aware that you were going to do the Piers Morgan show.
Yes.
Which was super. So you're coming off of some huge collabs. And then you've also seen the response, but I was saying at dinner, it's like long lasting. You did a great job on this podcast, not to glaze, but you did it. It's going to stand the test of time. So
Thank you.
How have you, what's the back since then, since you did all these shows, you could see, you know, what Piers is saying. And I've seen people start talking about his family, because you started talking about your family. You know, I see some weird things that I don't really want to get into. Maybe if you want to. And then Tucker, it's like you were beefing. It was like, I am America. And it was CIA.
Yeah.
That was dope. I remember sending you the recording of that live. I was like, oh, this is dope.
Thanks. Yeah.
And then now you're back on bad terms. I saw he dissed you recently on a new tech podcast. So what is that like? What's
You know, the interesting thing is that if we ever get Nick's ideal government, they would execute Sneako. And if we ever get the Sneako's ideal government, it will execute Nick. Sneako's ideal government would execute Nick, and Nick Fuentes' ideal government would execute Sneako.
Because, you know, you're cool with Candace, and then so what is really happening right now?
Well, I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I am the alternative. You know, like alternative is actually a very powerful word in the political lexicon, because basically after World War II, there's a consensus in Europe that because fascism created the war, and fascism was a reaction to communism, their doctrine was, it's called there is no alternative. TINA, there is no alternative. Like the German Constitution is based on this. The European Union is based on this. And what that means is there's no alternative to liberalism. Center left, center right liberalism is the doctrine of Europe.
That's right. That's right. Because we wiped you out, because liberalism wiped all of you mofos out. So there could be an alternative, but only for a short period of time before you are completely annihilated again.
There's no alternative to it. Not on the right, not on the left, not far right, not far left. And so this is where...
Well, no, there is right and left. There's room for right and left, just not you guys.
In the American conversation, you get the alternative right. You get, in Germany, the alternative for Deutschland, the AfD party. And I guess what I represent...
By the way, it's weird that these people make this much money and they couldn't come up with a better setup to talk to each other. They're not facing each other. The camera seems like a GoPro. It's like a camera made for like diving, like, or something like that. What the fuck is this camera? It looks like a camera for adventure. And the room is weird. There's like no lighting. There's a weird guy in the background in the dark doing something. It's like a whole mess. Like, why is it that when these people get rich, they don't actually get civilized? Like, what is this? They still live like teenagers.
I am the alternative. I'm the other option. And in contrast to liberalism, which says that everyone's a blank slate, which says that, you know, basically what all these people are, what they all have in common, Piers Morgan, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, where we disagree is that at the end of the day, they are liberals. And by that, I mean, you know, like Tucker, what is our disagreement? He goes on All In and says tribalism is evil. White identity politics is the same as BLM and, you know, Zionism and all the other identity politics. His position is we need these like universal
Sneako is not even listening.
principles, like we're not going to harm each other. We're not going to steal from each other. As long as everyone's raising their children with the same values, that we're all going to get along. And that's a liberal viewpoint. This is like blank slateism, individualism. My message is, no, there are distinct races. There are distinct genders. Like the world is filled with distinction, and we have to act accordingly. So
yeah, liberalism doesn't deny that. You don't understand liberalism. Liberalism doesn't deny that. It just provides a fair environment for all of them to compete, whatever their realities are, as long as you give equal opportunity to everybody. Whatever advantages anybody has, it will demonstrate itself in a level playing field. That's what liberalism does. As long as you give equal opportunity, whatever objective reality is about the nature of any ethnicity or any gender, it will just, in a fair competitive environment where everybody is safe and secure, it will demonstrate itself in a way that it has to. As long as you don't adjust for equal outcome and you adjust for equal opportunity, then you're going to be good. So no, liberalism doesn't. I think what denies that is far left progressivism. That's what denies those realities, but not classical liberal values doesn't deny that.
in other words, if America becomes majority non-white, it will be fundamentally different because non-white people are different than white people.
Which is inevitable, right?
It's not about them being white or not. It's about having. It's interesting. He's telling that to a black person. I wonder if Sneako is going to push back on that. He doesn't consider you fit to be an American, Sneako. Are you going to respond to that? But again, it's not about the skin color. It's about shitty values coming from shitty places. That's what we need to filter for. We don't need to filter for skin color. We need to filter for shitty values.
White, it will be fundamentally different because non-white people.
Yeah, like somebody in the chat saying Islam is not compatible with Western values. Exactly. That's what you need to filter for shitty values, not skin colors.
People are different than white people.
Which is inevitable, right? I see the late night talk show hosts like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, they're almost celebrating the fact that whites are soon going to be the minority in America.
Right.
Something they're very happy about and excited about. Which, if you said that about another race, soon Jews will be the minority, blacks will be the minority.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't get an applause in the crowd.
Well, and what's funny about that is
Wait, what did he say?
are different than white people.
Which is inevitable, right? I see the late night talk show hosts like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, they're
Is Sneako not going to push back on that? Like different how? Like I'm black, you're white. How are we exactly different? I mean, you guys actually have more in common than many other, white and black people. So how is your differences or similarities have anything to do with your skin color? Are you, Sneako, as a black person, are you not going to question that? You're just going to let it go slide? Okay.
almost celebrating the fact that whites are soon going to be the minority in America.
Right.
Something they're very happy about and excited about. Which, if you said that about another race, soon Jews will be the minority, blacks will be the minority.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't get an applause in the crowd.
Well, and what's funny about that,
who cares about which ethnicity is going to be the minority? What we care about is which values are going to be the minority. That's what we care about.
is you'll see guys like Elon Musk talk about this. Because what I would say is that's anti-whiteism. In the same way you got Islamophobia or racism, that's anti-whiteism. And you'll see that guys like Tucker, Matt Walsh, Elon, they are anti-white. Mm-hmm. So they'll frequently talk about, oh, liberals hate white people. If the shoe were on the other foot, if people were saying this about black people, that would be wrong. And what they're pandering to is white grievance. Mm-hmm. White people have a grievance about how we're being treated, about mass migration. And you'll have these guys that are paying lip service to those grievances, but their answer to white grievance, their answer to anti-whiteism is liberalism. Like Tucker, Walsh, and Elon.
Yeah, liberalism is the proper response. Liberalism is anti-racism. So racism against white people, which is a real thing that exists, the best way to fight against that is liberalism. The worst way to fight back against white racism is your own racism. So liberalism is against all forms of racism. Classical liberal values is against all forms of racism, including anti-white racism, which is right now, I think, the most common form of racism in America. So anti-white racism is a real thing, and people who deny it are far left woke retards. But the answer is classical liberal values.
They're not like, they don't say immigration moratorium, we need to reverse the demographic decline, we need to stick up for ourselves as white people. They say, please, black people, stop playing identity politics. Please, Jews, let's all play by the same rules. And I guess what I would say is, if you think anti-whiteism is a problem, you need to be pro-white. I guess maybe I sound like BLM. In other words, it's not enough to be...
That's a false dichotomy. If what?
You need to be pro-white.
You need to be pro-everybody. You need to be pro-everybody. Why do you need to be pro-white specifically? You need to be pro-all people.
I would say is, if you think anti-whiteism is a problem, you need to be pro-white. I guess maybe I sound like BLM. In other words, it's not enough to be anti-white. You need to be pro-white.
Right. I heard Logan Paul say the same thing, but for BLM.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be pro-white? You need to be defending white people who are being discriminated against. That's all.
As a white guy.
But because it's recognizing that whites have distinct interests, and just like the other groups, we have a right in an open society, in a democracy, to advocate for those interests.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't need to do it as a collective. Other people, it doesn't matter if you're white or not white. You could be not white and also stand up for white people who are being discriminated against. That's why you don't need to do it as a collective. Just like Jewish people. Like, you don't need to be Jew to defend Jewish people against discrimination. You could be anything and still defend Jewish people against discrimination. Same thing goes with white people. So you don't need to do it as a collective.
And I would say that, as far as that is concerned, people say, well, no, we can't emulate their identity politics. We have to reject it. To that, I say you first. You want to abandon identity politics? Well, who's been playing it for 60 years? Immigrants.
Also, I see the value of having some forms of collective identity, but there is no collective white identity. There's collective Irish identity. There's a collective Scottish identity. There's a collective Italian identity. There's a collective French identity. And those are valuable, and it makes sense for people to connect with each other over those shared culture and history. But those are the ones that exist. There is like a huge collective, Scottish identity that a lot of people value and celebrate. And there's a lot of history and stories and legends and culture tied to it. And those, you could value that. But there's no such thing for white. There is no collective white identity. We already have multiple collective white identities, but not a general one for all of them. Do we? We don't have that.
Black people, Jews, women, gay people.
Like British, example. There is no all white people as a collective. There's different subcategories of white identities that are very valuable and a lot more meaningful than generally just white.
Immigrants, black people, Jews, women, gay people. Now everybody says, oh, whites are getting angry. Whites are becoming nativist. Oh, okay, let's all stop playing. I say you first, because we got here because everyone was playing it. White people are finally waking up. And now the Tuckers and the Walshes and the Elons want to come in and say, no, white identity isn't the answer. I say it's the answer.
White identity isn't the answer because it doesn't exist. We already have beautiful identities of people who happen to be white. In fact, going with a general white identity for all of these people devalues the already rich history and culture and identity that they have as Italian, French, Scottish, Irish, British, or other identities.
Until everybody's on the same page.
But I've seen Elon and Matt Walsh be very critical about Muslim immigration. They always talk about how there needs to be less of that in Europe, and they seem to try to relate it to America, even though Muslims make up, what, 2% of the American population. If they're liberals, then why are they so vocal about that sort of immigration?
Well, I would say that, first of all,
Wait, sorry, what was the question?
Muslim immigration. They always talk about how there needs to be less of that in Europe, and they seem to try to relate it to America, even though Muslims make up, what, 2% of the American population. If they're liberals, then why are they so vocal about that sort of immigration?
Well, because they have shitty, on average, relative to the rest of the population, they have shittier ideas. So this is the reason why you could basically do migration, limit migration based on Islamic, rather than white or black or anything else, or skin color related, because Islamic is about values. Black is not about values. It makes sense to stop migration from Islamic countries because Islam doesn't represent an ethnicity. It represents a set of shitty values.
I would say that, first of all, these guys like Elon, they're pro-India.
Look at this, guys. This is funny. Somebody is in the chat is saying liberalism is the shitty idea. Somebody with a flag of America, the biggest representation of classical liberal values and the greatest defender of classical liberalism worldwide, you don't even know what your flag represents. I think you're one of those retards who thinks liberalism means leftist. You don't even know what liberalism means.
But they're anti-Muslim, which is, first of all, these guys like Elon, they're pro-India, but they're anti-Muslim, which is funny. And same in the UK.
Well, they're not anti-Muslim, they're anti-Islamic migration, which makes a lot of sense. And they're in the tech sector, and they have seen a lot of benefit from migration from India. So it makes sense. It's not crazy at all. It makes absolute sense to them.
These guys like Elon, they're pro-India, but they're anti-Muslim, which is funny. And same in the UK. Tommy Robinson is pro-India, anti-Muslim. Oh, and if you're white, you're like, they're the same people, basically. Like Pakistan and India, when they declared independence, they were basically segregated by religion.
Okay, this guy's retarded. Nick is retarded. That's very interesting because he thinks they're the same people. Look how much racial his views are. The Pakistani people and Indian people could not be any more different. Even though they are on average, I know there's some differences, they're the same groups of different ethnicities, but they couldn't be. That actually shows how much values are important, are more important than ethnicity. Because true, Pakistani people and Indian people on average are a mix of the same ethnicities, but yet Pakistan is a much shittier country than India. Because they're Muslim, because it's Islamic, and India isn't. I mean, here's another example of how obvious this is. Compare North Korea and South Korea. The same geography, the same history, the same historical culture, the same ethnicity, the same almost everything, but separated by a border that separates their ideas. One is capitalistic, classical liberal capitalist. The other one is leftist communist. Look how different they are. These are the same ethnic people. These were the same ethnicities. Look how it's basically night and day. It's literally night and day, because from space, one of them is lit up and the other one is full on darkness if you look at the satellite images. And that shows that the ethnicity doesn't matter. The fact that you see Indian and Pakistanis as the same shows how fucking stupid this person is. He doesn't understand the values determine everything. It's not their ethnicity, it's their values.
And if you're white, you're like, they're the same people, basically. Like Pakistan and India, when they declared independence, they were basically segregated by religion. There's not, India is a very diverse country, ethnically and racially. So why, in other words, why would you say, oh, Indians, come on in, Pakistanis, no.
Well, you shouldn't ever say to any country to completely come on in. India has its own problem, and you need to be very selective. But obviously, no matter what problems India has, is far superior to Pakistan, and the difference is that Pakistan is Islamic. Do you really not see the difference? Do you not really see that Islam makes Pakistan a much more backwards place, a much more dangerous place with much more dangerous people? Does he not really see that? Is he really that focused on ethnicity That is absolutely insane. This man is insane.
I think what that has to do with, of course, is that it's politically expedient to be anti-Muslim. And I know a lot of Muslims like when I say that, it's a fact that it is politically.
Look at this. Look at this. He's so anti-Jewish that he's now getting closer. He's opening the door to becoming friends with Muslims. Nick, who's far right, is now opening the door to becoming friends with communists, progressives, and even Muslims. And as long as they're anti-Jewish, look at Sneako. Look at him getting happy over realizing this.
A lot of Muslims,
look at his face.
Like when I say that, it's a fact that it is politically expedient to be anti-Muslim because America has a strained relationship with some of those countries, and because of our alliance with Israel. Israel has a gripe with Muslims. They want to,
which is, by the way, Israel and Jews in general are the group of people on average, with the best of values, with the most productive skills, on average, the best people. It's really the fact that among all groups of people, you have picked Jews to consider the enemy shows that you don't really understand which values and which skills and which ideas actually are productive to a society.
Us to have a gripe so that, we identify with their struggle and we support them in their fight. I think it's that simple.
I think you're the only one in the right wing that sees the PSYOP, right? Because Netanyahu said publicly that he was going to invest money into the propaganda.
Yeah.
And it's always the playbook over the last 20 years has always been just call Muslims terrorists.
Yep.
Nonstop after the Iraq war.
Look at this. Look at this guy who's supposed to be a far right anti-Muslim. They're so united over hatred of Jews that they're like, yeah, that they are being anti-Muslim is propaganda by the Zionists, by the Jewish media, by the Jewish elite. They want us to be anti-Muslim, and we're not going to be anti-Muslim. Look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy. Like again, at the end of the day, this is what brings them all together. Jew hatred is what brings them all together. Oh, we got a super chat. Let's actually respond to the super chat saying, sorry, hate on US again. I just wondered if white Americans cling on racial identity because they have no cultural identity left besides consumerism. No, America has a lot of culture. American culture is deep. It's actually, American culture is so widespread that the whole world is swimming in it. If you don't know, if you're not saying American culture, is because it's so powerful and it's so, it's so present in everywhere on the planet that it's like a fish swimming in water and not knowing what water is. The entire structure of all governments in the world is based on American culture. The movies everywhere from Vietnam to Bangladesh, to France, to Japan, to Venezuela, when you go to a mall, if you see a song, if you listen to the song playing, it's probably an American song. Everywhere in the world, if you go to a theater, if you go watch a movie in a theater, it's probably their local movies and American movies. Children everywhere around the world grew up on programs made by America, for children's program made in America. Many of the stories that we all like Disney, many of the kids' stories, many of the memes, you're telling me America has no culture? Like you're on the internet, came from America, using devices that came from America. Most of the most recognized brands in the world are Americans. America is rich with culture. It's just the reason why you don't see it is because it's so present everywhere that it has become such, it's so powerful and has become such the norm in such a degree that you don't even see it because it's basically everywhere. It's like the air that you breathe. That's how present American culture is everywhere. So not only do they have culture, their culture is more powerful than any other countries. In fact, American culture is stronger than the culture of all other countries combined. Let me see. Oh, and Shana gave us a super chat saying Americans think they have no culture because we are the neo-Hellenists, the the lingua franca, Rome, etc. Yes, yes, like it's basically like the water basically like the water that the fishes are swimming in and they cannot even notice. It's like the air that you breathe. It's basically so present that you don't even notice it. Let me see. Islamists and Zionists are enemies of the West. We got a super chat for doing that. Well, you just gave a super chat to a channel dedicated to defending Israel, which is, and also you just gave money to a channel that is proudly Zionist. So thank you for supporting Zionism, and also thank you for making a claim without no arguments and with no evidence to back it up.
Always the playbook over the last 20 years has always been just call Muslims terrorists.
Yep.
Nonstop. After the Iraq war, after every war that we go to support Israel in the Middle East, they just blame radical Islamists. They did that with Iran as well. And everyone fell for it. Everyone's starting to say, oh, they're talking about Dearborn, which is a non-issue. It's like, what, 100,000 people in this. They're not really bothering anyone. The crime is pretty low. Everyone immediately started to jump on that bandwagon, even though it doesn't really pose a threat. Even on Rumble, I used to stream on Rumble. You stream on Rumble. I saw ads pop up like the radical jihadists. It's like these AI ads for boomers right next to Black Rifle Coffee. They're talking only about Muslim immigration.
Yeah, but they're correct because they're the most problematic form of immigration. They're the main people you need to be stopping, on average, not everybody. Also, we got another super chat saying Israel is America's best friend and truest ally. Yes, exactly. That's perfectly said. America had never had a better friend than Israel. Very true.
Reason that's happening is that all distraction? Because Alex Jones seems very annoyed by Muslim immigration. He's very worried about that. Does that actually pose a threat?
I don't think so, no. And I'll tell you why. It's funny you bring that up because what you would say about Dearborn is that it's an enclave. It's an enclave where it's a smaller town and it's mostly Muslim and you have sort of like a monoculture there.
Right.
But there are enclaves everywhere, and there's Jewish enclaves
all over New York, and I don't see anybody talking about that.
Never.
New York City, there's neighborhoods in Borough Park and
everybody. You guys are obsessed with it. What the fuck are you talking about? Everybody's talking. Like nobody talks about these things. Meanwhile, I look on social media. Jew hatred is the norm right now. It's the most profitable thing to do right now is hating on Jews. It's the most viral posts are hating on Jews, and then the audacity. Like nobody talks about this. Half of social media is right now hating on Jews. And like, oh, nobody dares talk about this. Meanwhile, everybody's talking about this.
Crown Heights that are literally, they look like Israel.
Yes.
Like they all wear their hats. They have their own police. They have their own bus station. They have their own schools.
Oh, you're talking about ultra-Orthodox Jews in New York, which the Jewish people in New York actually hate on. This is guys, you know what they're doing? There's a minority of Jewish people that are extremely religious and have really backwards lives. And most Jews are extremely secular and they hate these people. But then the Jew haters go and zoom in on these backward, ultra-Orthodox, really religious Jews and look at their lives. They're like, oh my God, look at these Jews. You fucking idiot. Their main enemies, the main people that call them out are other Jews.
Their own language. They don't, even though they're in New York City, they don't communicate.
Yeah.
And they're told that they only interact with each other. But there's nobody protesting that.
No, and it's everywhere too. In New Jersey, no.
I mean, okay, why would anybody protest that? Because as much as I don't like those societies because they actually treat their own children really badly and the children treat their own women really badly, but they're not causing any problem for people outside of their community. It's not like Islamic communities that is basically a factory of radical terrorists for the rest of from outside to the outside of their communities. Like the Jewish communities in New York, honestly, the ones that are really backwards and religious and ultra-Orthodox, I really hate those communities because I've been there and I've seen what they do to their children and it's really horrible, okay? And other Jews call it out, but they don't cause any problem for anyone else. The Muslim communities do. Muslim communities create radicalism that comes after everybody. That's why you need to be more concerned about Muslim migration. Okay, so Yams is saying, dear Jew hating numbnuts, please contribute money to Armin. I like that tactic. IRGC supporters, please take notes. Thank you. Yes, guys, you can really show it to me by giving me super chats. You know, I will read your super chats and I will be like, oh my God, that was like, you could take out my arguments with super chats. I pretty thank you, Yaps.
I have never heard any mainstream person talk about this. There are like ultra orthodox colonies in New Jersey.
There is a Netflix documentary calling this out. Does it get more mainstream than Netflix? I think it was called One of Us, right? Yeah, there's a One of Us and Netflix. Yeah, just go, I think, no, Netflix. Is that what it's called? Yes, One of Us on Netflix. Go watch that. It's a documentary that shows the horrors of the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community section of New York. Okay, it's a really good documentary. Like it says, I've never seen any mainstream talk. Yeah, Netflix, guys, Netflix is not mainstream. Sure.
I've never seen anyone document it, talk about it. I only know because I know people from New Jersey, and they say, oh, these Hasidic Jews are taking over this whole town. In Surfside, Florida, in Crown Heights in New York. Yep. It's like you said, they have the
yep. There's a documentary on that. And in fact, actually, there's multiple mainstream documentaries on this. And there's multiple mainstream reports on these. Yeah, go watch them. I mean, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Their own ambulances, their own police. They have, it's like an enclave. And so you say, okay, Matt, well,
guys, it's really easy to take down this idiot. Like you can see that he doesn't have facts. I have the facts. He doesn't. He just doesn't get challenged by serious people. He gets challenged by Piers Morgan with that embarrassing performance by saying like, oh my God, did you just say that? I'm offended. Like he had zero pushback. Like if actually anybody knew their shit talking to him, they would be able to take him down like that because this guy has zero arguments. Fucking hell.
So what's the difference between that enclave and Dearborn or Minneapolis or Springfield, Ohio? And I do think there's something cowardly about it because, you know, let's be honest, like the Haitians in Springfield, I know you're Haitian, you're also Muslim, so, you know, Dearborn or whatever.
Sakbasi.
But it's like, you know, it is the most egregious example, let's say, because Haiti is not doing so.
Wow, look at this. Like, Sneako, you're not going to speak. You're not going to say anything. He's calling you out. You're not going to respond to that. You're just going to take it. Pathetic. Beta.
Right.
So it's easy.
Is Nick too popular to now push back against him? Is that what is happening here?
That a shithole country, yeah.
And I get it, but to me, that's almost like punching down. Mm-hmm. There's something cowardly about it. I did a whole show about it. I'm like, Matt, why don't you talk about all the Jewish names in Hollywood and New York? He's going to name all the Muslim names in Dearborn. Okay, yeah, like, I see your point. Name all the Jewish names in Wall Street.
Well, I saw on Tucker Carlson, he said he doesn't care about Israel.
Yeah, there's Jewish names in Wall Street because Jews are better than you guys at achieving things, okay? They're better skilled at you. They're more knowledgeable than you. They're more hardworking. This is all based on merit. Jews on average worldwide have succeeded. Guys, like Jews are better. Jews win more chess games. Do you think there's a conspiracy there as well? Because we could actually watch the games. Why are Jews winning chess games on average more than other people? Do you think that they have their lobby groups also manipulating the chess game, the chess tournaments? Because you really can't cheat chess. Everybody is watching the game. They can see who's winning. Like, how are they overperforming in chess as well? It might actually be because they are better. It might, maybe, I don't know, guys. Maybe they're just better. Have you thought about that? Maybe they deserve the places that they are, the positions that they have, because they achieve more than you. I wonder, have you ever considered that option to be the answer? Huh? Have you, like, no, they must be stealing it from you somehow. Oh, wait, we got a super chat saying, we don't want Jewish or Muslim influence. America is a Christian country. Israel is the waste of taxpayer money to us. Okay, let me address these one by one. You don't want Jewish or Muslim influence. So what do you mean Jewish influence? We have American Jews. America, if you don't know, America is a free country, and a free country with free speech, and speech brings influence. And you have a lot of Jewish citizens, and with their speech, they have influence. So if you don't want Jews to have their influence, then you are not very American, sir, because Jews know how to use their expression, their freedom of expression properly, and much better than you. And you're not going to be able to take that away from them. And trying to take that away from them is un-American. And you, sir, are un-American because you don't value your Jewish citizens. And any society that didn't value its Jewish citizens suffered from it. And I don't know if you wanted to say Israeli influence, but if you said, but you basically demonstrated how retarded you are by saying Jewish influence, because America has Jewish citizens, and they have influence because, you know, they're wealthier than the average citizens, and wealth brings influence, and you cannot stop that. And you know, and that's a good thing that you cannot stop that. America, you have free speech in America. Are you anti-free speech? And saying America is a Christian country, America is a Christian. If by that you mean they're majority Christian, that would be true. But if you mean they're Christian, as in Christian in their laws, they're not. America is a secular country, and if you don't know that, you don't know America. America is a secular country with a majority Christian population. Israel is a waste of taxpayer money to us. Yeah, that's retarded. Israel has saved America more tax money than any other country. Israel has done so much for America at a much cheaper price much cheaper cost than compared to what would have cost America if they had to pay for it themselves. So yeah, Israel has actually saved America a lot of money, and more than money, Israel has saved America a lot of blood, a lot of lives. When the United States invests in Israel, they get so much more than what they give in return. And also, actually, I'm not going to go into that because that's going to be too long of a conversation. And then Shana saying, Frida Wiesel is a channel I really like for understanding the ultra-Orthodox community. She grew up in Satmar. Okay. Thank you, Shana. Thank you for the recommendation. All right, there's that. But guys, go look at that documentary, One of Us, on Netflix. It's a really good documentary.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He just doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't care. Isn't that the right defense? Isn't he enlightened to not care about and only put America first by not caring about Israel?
That's total cowardice, because it's like you can't have it both ways. You can either, you got to oppose all of it, or, you know, you should just shut up in general. You know what I mean? Because it is cowardly to say, oh, I don't care about Jews running America, but Muslims running Dearborn? This is a red alert. This is real.
Jews are not running America. Jews are more influential in America because Jews are better at their job, and they become more influential because they have the skills and the hard work and the dedication required to succeed. And yes, Jews running things is good because they know what they're doing and they are good at management and almost everything else. They're not really good at sports and media, but they're almost good at everything else. And therefore, when you have the more Jews you have in your society, the better things become, because they're just good at science, technology, many things. And in fact, we probably won the World War, like the West won the World War II and the Cold War because they had Jewish scientists on their side. So that's why it's okay to allow Jews to run things. And yeah, Muslims have, on average, shittier ideas. So that's why we should be concerned about their influence. In their average influence anywhere is going to be destructive, and Jewish influence on average is going to be productive. So yeah, of course, we're going to be concerned about one of them and not concerned about the other one. In fact, we're going to be welcoming. This is not hypocrisy. This is understanding the contribution different societies have in a society, different people have in a society. Why should we treat Jews and Muslims the same when they're not the same? It's interesting because he just earlier in his video he said, oh, liberalism makes the mistake of treating everybody the same, instead of understanding that different people are different. Black people are different from white people. Men are different from white people. Well, Nick Fuentes, it seems like you're the retard here, because you are the one who doesn't see the difference. Because we see that on average, Jews are different from Muslims. So why should like, this is the same criticism these people have for the woke left. Like, oh, these people think men and women are the same. True, they do, but the woke left does see that, and that's retarded. Oh, these people think also all groups of people are the same. Yeah, that's also retarded. But you're also retarded because you think that Jews and Muslims are the same. We should treat them differently. We should be concerned about this population differently, concerned or not concerned differently. We should one of them we should be concerned about, the other one we shouldn't, because these are not the same people. They don't act the same. They don't have the same values, so they should be treated differently. So Shauna is saying America is not a Christian country. And by the way, Shauna is a Christian saying this. America is not a Christian country. We can't even agree on the definition of Christian. We have freedom of religion because we tried that experiment. Perfectly said, Shauna. Very, very well put. And again, Shauna is saying that as a Christian herself.
This is a red flag crisis level.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's very obvious what's going on there.
Same thing. I recently saw a major push, people talking about the Somali immigration, and you had a good talking.
What? We got another super chat saying Jewish influence to help a foreign country is stupid. The U.S. is not a secular country. Our laws were based on Christian beliefs. Sir, you're ignorant. Well, you know who disagrees with you? The founding fathers of the United States. So, no, sir, you are the ignorant one. You're the ignorant one because you don't even understand your own country. I'm not even American, and I know your country more than you do. It's rich. Somebody who says something that contradicts the very statements of American, the founding fathers of America, is telling me that I'm ignorant. Okay, sir. But also, Jewish influence to help foreign country is stupid. To help a foreign country, you're not really helping them. You have mutual interest. They're helping you more than you're helping them. In fact, if anybody should be complaining, it should be the Israelis, because you're getting the better end of the deal, but you're too retarded. You're too retarded to realize this. This is not helping Israel. This is United States. United States has become a great country because it has allies all around the world, and it works with its allies based on mutual interests. But again, you isolationists are retarded. You don't understand how the modern world works and how countries become great by working with each other based on their mutual interests.
Points. Whenever Trump is losing support right now, he's more unpopular than ever. Mm-hmm. His approval rating is, how low is it right now?
It's I think it's like 41%.
And whenever he wants to get it up, he immediately says something racist, and he says something to create an us versus them mentality. Right now, it's the Somalis. It's who's that congresswoman that he doesn't like?
Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar.
Oh, look at these fucking retards. They're like, oh my God, it's propaganda to go after the Somalis. Yeah, the Somali population is fine, but the Jewish population in the United States is the problem. Wow. Okay. If you do not see the difference between the contributions that the Somali population makes in the United States and the Jewish population makes in the United States, you are actually a retard. You should see a professional. You have below room temperature IQ. Like, oh my, these politicians are just trying to, distract us by going after the Somalis. It's the Jews that we have to go after. Okay, yeah, sure. Go after the most productive segment of your population.
Right. He's going really hard at them. Is that a major issue going on? What's happening with the Somalians?
That's another thing where, I think the Somalians should be deported because it's so egregious. She goes up there in Congress and she's like, as long as I'm in Congress, you have a fighter for Somalia. And it's like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's mirroring the Israeli rhetoric. Yeah. But here's what I will say about.
Well, the difference is that Somalia has no benefit for the United States as a country. Israel is one of the United States' main allies. So supporting Israel is supporting America. Supporting Somalia isn't.
This is the classic Trump playbook. He gets unpopular with his base because he's terrible at governing. He's disorganized, not strategic. His team is full of fucking idiots and criminals. So inevitably, and I knew, this is why I didn't vote for him, I knew it was going to go in the toilet very quickly. Trump sees the approval rating collapse. He's unpopular. So then he goes and plays the greatest hits. Shithole country. Fuck Muslims. You're garbage. Fuck Somalia. And it's like, yeah.
The same people would have been cheering him if he was saying, fuck Israel. These people would be dancing you're like, oh my God, he's distracting us by saying these things, by saying fuck Muslims, fuck Somalia. These same people would have been celebrating this if he said the same thing about Israel. We got another super chat by Shana saying, where is this? Oh, okay. Citizenship was originally based on white men of good character. This is literally quoting the original definition. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Shona, for that information. Yeah, and then they changed it. And then we have, what do you think what makes people so anti-India? And they have flaws, but they are the highest tax-paying diaspora and 1% of immigrant diaspora, or is it racism? Wait, what? Diaspora and 1% of immigrant diaspora, or it's racism? Okay, so I think, what do you think makes people anti-India? Okay, so on average, Indians are so much better because of they're more entrepreneurial. They are, they have smarter people. They are good at tech. They're hardworking. Okay, but can I be honest with you guys? I think one reason might be that they bring a lot of again, they're better than people who come from Pakistan by far, for sure, right? And I think United States should work in improving its relationship with India, and India is a great country that I wish the best for. Okay, but two things that I could think of that people don't like, and this might get me in trouble. One of them, the first one is not going to get me in trouble, is they bring a lot of their fights and from home to here, a lot of their conflicts. And the other thing, and I'm going to be, should I say the second one, guys? I don't know if this is fair, if I should say this. I'm going to say it because it's not inherent, because I know Indians could do better, because I know the ones who are more civilized and more assimilated, I've seen them do better. Okay, so this is not something inherent. This is something cultural that they could improve. But I think one reason might be is that they don't shower and they don't use deodorant. Many of them, not all of them. Okay, many of them. And I think a lot of people just notice that, right? And they're like, that has caused a lot of people to not like that population. Okay, and I know they could do better because I know so many of them do. But, I don't know what it is. It can be an inherent genetical thing, because many of them don't actually do wash and use deodorant, but so many of them don't. And I don't know why don't people call it out? People should call it out. People should call it out, like, hey sir, why don't you, are you allergic to shower? Are you allergic to deodorants? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, why do you not notice that you're making the people around you uncomfortable? Right? I think people should say it. I think people should just say it to them. I think that's not hateful or racist. I think you're doing them a favor. I think they don't wash because people are afraid to be called racist if they tell them. Like, if you just tell them, like, sir, you smell like shit and people are getting uncomfortable, please consider showering once a day. I think you're saving that man's life or that woman's life. You're doing that person a favor. Right? So there's that. I mean, I'm not being hateful. I think that's a kind thing to do. That's a kind thing to say, isn't it? Yeah. All right. And then we have Jaden saying Oppenheimer, Einstein, Sam Altman, Zuckerberg, Jews. Yes, the best contributors. Exactly. And this coming from an Indian, by the way. These are the best contributors to United States, some of the best. And also Shana saying they also buy up a lot of the small businesses. I mean, that's okay. They should. Yeah, that's a good contribution. That's a good contribution. I mean, they're a contributing, hardworking, entrepreneurial bunch of people. So they should be celebrated. But you also should be kind enough to tell them when they have flaws.
No, we didn't elect you to be mean to these people. We elected you to fucking deport people. But you can't do the deportation.
But guys, do you guys think I was being, like, what I said is fair? I think I'm being fair. I mean, I know you guys have noticed it. I know you guys, a lot of you notice it and don't say anything. I know you know this. Okay? But I think that's, like, unfair to them if you don't say it. I think you should say it so they could fix it. There's nothing inherently wrong with them. So this is a problem that could be fixed.
Because that's hard. So instead, you're going to basically do the lowest common denominator. You're going to appeal to people's basest instincts and say, fuck the people we don't like.
Right.
And everybody goes, yeah. And it's like, okay, but he did that last time. And we want to make America great again. We don't want to just be mean to people and like talk shit.
Yeah.
We want the deportations.
Yeah, he acts like he's still campaigning. Even when he's in office, he has the same rhetoric as if he's trying to run for office. And I noticed too, they're posting a lot of edits. The ICE, the White House posting videos of cool ICE deporting people. Why haven't they released the statistics? How many people are actually getting deported? What's going on there?
It's funny you say that, because ICE is supposed to report every quarter how many people they deport.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to give weekly numbers and quarterly numbers. Do you know that ICE has not put out the number of deportations since Joe Biden was president?
And why is that?
Because they're low.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's so funny because they're pressed.
Well, you fucking idiot. It's low, not because they're not doing their job. It's low because it has worked. It's low because it has worked, because people are not coming as much anymore. So there's less job for them to do.
Office, the White House press office will put out numbers, but those aren't the official numbers. ICE has reporting requirements. They just don't do them because the government knows how many people it deports. They keep fucking track.
They stopped illegal migration from the South. They basically reduced it to almost zero. There's some things I like about Trump, and there's some things I don't like about Trump. But honestly, when it comes to immigration, his performance has been 10 out of 10. That's the one thing you can't complain about Trump. When it comes to migration, that's the main thing that you could basically tell that he delivered on his promises. That's the part that you're attacking Trump on.
That's a number they have, but it's so low they won't publicize it because it's an embarrassment. It's probably like 300,000 for the year, which 10 million illegals came in 4 years under Biden. If you're deporting 300 to 400,000 per year, by the end of Trump's term, you've deported over 1 million people.
The way you need to get out the illegal migrants is not with ICE. I mean, ICE is necessary, but it's not going to do the job. You need to go and arrest the people who are hiring illegal migrants. You need to go arrest the CEOs. Okay, because if you arrest the CEOs that are hiring illegal immigrants and put them to jail and punish them harshly, that way there would be no incentive for them to stay, and they will just go back themselves. You could actually, because here's the thing, the reason why if you use ICE too heavily, there's going to be a lot of footages of moms and children crying, and you're going to turn the Hispanic population in America who are pro-Trump, anti-Trump. Those images, those videos are not going to be helpful. So instead of spending so much money on finding these people and also producing videos that is going to make a lot of people upset, just go after the CEOs. Nobody cares about the CEOs. Okay, I mean, that's unfortunate that people don't care about CEOs, but that's the reality. Just go arrest the CEOs that are hiring these people and put them to jail, and then just make an example of a few of them, and then nobody would be hiring them again. And if there is no money for them to make in America, they will deport themselves. That's the solution. I mean, this is such an obvious solution. Can somebody tell me why this is not what they're doing?
It's nothing. So that's why they won't publish the numbers.
And you were I think the only person that was anti. I mean, again, I was very vocal about Trump. I said no war on Iran. I didn't want that to happen. And then closer towards the election, I'm like, okay, it's probably, I like the optics of me wearing a MAGA hat and debating Rabbi Shmuley and saying America first. MAGA cannot happen by having dual allegiance to Israel. I like that. But you were the only one completely anti. And you faced a lot of heat for that. And I think that's why this year has been so successful for you. What makes? Do you have anything to say to those people?
Yeah, well, it's funny because everybody says, why is Nick so popular? Like, that's the big question. Like, why do people like him if he's a Nazi, if he's a piece of shit? And people say, oh, it's because, so-and-so had him on the show, or because the economy's bad, or like whatever. But if you go back to the beginning of the year, I blew up initially when Israel bombed Iran. Because you remember when we were in Spain in May, there was no generational run. It didn't happen yet. The generational run started in June when Israel bombed Iran.
And you were vindicated.
Yes, like that. Everyone watched my show because I called it. I said, we're going to war.
You weren't vindicated because you retards said that if they attack the Islamic Republic in Iran, there's going to be World War III. And we all, I mean, I was vindicated here because I told you guys that the Islamic Republic is a paper tiger and they will not be able to respond and nothing will happen. They will be able to do nothing at all. And we were right. You were wrong.
With Iran. And so when that happened, people said, dude, he's like on the money. He's right about this. Then they watched the show and said, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like his analysis is totally on point. That is what really initiated the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so I would just say to those people, it's like, you fucking fell for it again. Mm-hmm. You're on the hamster wheel. You know, more than anything, my message is the people have to develop a political consciousness. I don't care if you're white, black, yellow, like seriously, Christian, Muslim. People need to develop a political consciousness and take their own side. And they
but guys, if you want to develop a political consciousness, come join our community. We have lots of political discussions there as well. Don't listen to these retards. Come into our community. I put the link in the chat. The link is also in the description. We will actually give you a better understanding of how politics works in our community more than these retards can.
They have to stop seeing themselves as Republicans and Democrats because you're not on the fucking team. Like, they get elected, they make the money, they get the privileges, and every year both sides get fucked. Everybody gets fucked. Mm-hmm. And so my message to being a right-wing guy and a white guy, Christian, my message to my people was, fuck Republicans. Don't vote for them. They don't do anything for us. Mm. And people go, oh, well, you're an ideologue. And like, that's true. But more than that, I'm in favor of, we need a political consciousness as the people.
So why do you think that you weren't allowed at the New York Young Republicans event that just happened? Because I saw people that came up to me on stream saying, I'm racist. And that's their thing. And people say, look, I have blackface. And they're showing me videos of them in blackface. What separates you? Is it the fact that you oppose the Republican Party so much? What's the real issue here? Because if it's racism, then they would be kicked out.
I think it's because I'm critical of Israel. Okay. You know, Jared Taylor was there. And I love Jared. I really do.
I'm critical of Israel. Oh, really? That's what it is. There's so many people who are critical of Israel, and they sometimes some of them are actually. We have so many Israelis that are critical of their own government. There's nothing wrong with being critical of Israeli governments. Israelis do them themselves. Like, it's interesting. The guy who says, like, I think Hitler is cool. He said, like, oh, I think I'm being targeted just because I am critical of Israel. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that's what it is. It's not that you think Hitler was cool and women want to be raped and all the other fucking bullshit that you've said.
Respect him deeply. And we have disagreements, but he's an admirable guy. But let's be honest. The reason that Steve Saylor and Jared Taylor, ironically, are becoming more mainstream in some ways or getting more acceptance is because they only talk about black-white race relations. They never talk about Jewish capture of institutions. And we know that seems to be the thing you're not allowed to talk about. So I think that's it.
Yeah, and Piers Morgan, this was huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There has been a lot of, that one had a lot more criticism, I think. Or no, after Tucker Carlson, they wrote Chuck Schumer passed something. He wanted to pass a bill in Congress that forces people to disavow. Is that what it was?
It was like a resolution condemning me.
Is that even legal? Or what's
no, it's like non-binding. It means nothing.
Okay, and then do you think the backlash was worse after?
That's fucking stupid. That's only going to improve his profile.
Piers or after Tucker Carlson?
Definitely after Tucker, because Tucker's like but it was funny is like Tucker brought me on and
oh wait, we got 2 super chats. Let's respond to them. So Shauna say, no, people get mad when one group is seen as taking up all the opportunities, even if it's not literally true. Yeah, I see that. The thing is that if anybody is taking any opportunities, but it says based on merit and it's legal, then tough, man. That's how it is. It's merit-based. It should be merit-based. If you get the government involved to stop somebody just because you think it's unfair, then, I mean, you're a fucking fascist. Hamed is saying now these two assholes are pro-Islam and anti-Jews. Are Muslims white? Yeah, I mean, this is the horseshoe. If the horseshoe had like, it doesn't, it's not even the horseshoe because it needs to have three endings, right? So this is when the Muslims and the woke right and the woke left, when they all get united, this is why they are supporting each other. They're putting their differences aside because they're just getting united on hating Jews. I mean, that's what brings them all together, hating Jews.
You know, I have a lot to say about that in retrospect, but it's funny that Tucker had me on and everyone said, oh, that's a softball interview. And everybody said, why didn't you press him? Why didn't you ask him the tough questions? Why didn't you play his clips and ask him about things that he said? In other words, they thought like I got away with murder. Like I was able to push my views unopposed and he gave me a platform and he's working with me. So Piers Morgan said, oh, all right. Well, I'll ask him the tough questions. I'll give him a proper interview and I'll drill down.
Yeah, and he didn't. He was just like, well, I'm offended. Tucker Carlson didn't push back on anything, right? Other than trying to make himself look like not anti-Semitic or a Jew hater, which he is. So that was like a real good opportunity for Nick to increase his profile. But Piers Morgan was like, well, I'm going to show him, I'm going to challenge him. But all he did was play videos of him and say like, well, this is offensive. Oh, this is offensive. Basically, he had no arguments against Nick Fuentes. It was just like, well, I'm offended. Why are you saying this? This is bad. Why are you being such a naughty boy? That's all. It was embarrassing. It was absolutely embarrassing.
On all of it. And nobody could say that he got cheated because he was so disingenuous, so unfair. He was as malicious as possible. And it was probably better for me than Tucker. I think more people like the Piers interview than the Tucker thing.
I agree. It's because people are so sick of the doubling down, the lack of doubling down. They're sick of the apologizing. Legacy media, Piers was expecting you to come on. Same thing when I went on with Ye, was like expecting to, like, I'm sorry about this song. I'm sorry about this. I meant it by that. You went on and just said, did that face, just this evil face, just horrified, looking like the pigeon lady in Home Alone. Yeah. And people love that. People are just sick of the alternative and what media forces you to do.
Well, and with Piers, it's interesting because I watched a lot of his interviews, his like hit pieces, and I got a little nervous, but I took away from it strategically that the power that Piers has is shame. He's sitting there like the judge or like the cop, the interrogator,
the moral leader.
Yes. And uses the moral language like, aren't you ashamed? Aren't you guilty? Isn't that racist? And there's a psychological thing where you're sort of sitting there in the hot seat having to justify yourself and say, well, I'm a good person. Well, I'm a good guy. And I said, you know what? You're a tabloid journalist. You're a fucking sensationalist, tabloid celebrity. Fuck you. Like, you're not a judge. You're not a lawyer. You're not smart. Like, who the fuck are you? You bring Rabbi Shmuley on and Dan Bilzerian to and I like Dan a lot, but it's like it's polemical. He brings these people on to like scream at each other like it's Sports Center, you know, like it's who's the black
Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah. You bring people on to go rah, 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 and you're gonna sit there in judgment. So the way that I flipped the script is I said, I'm gonna have contempt. I'm going to be in contempt of court. You're going to sit there and say, how dare you? And I'm going to shit on the floor and piss on your face and say, I don't take this seriously. This is a joke. The Holocaust? Pff, that's funny. So that was the strat. That's how I played it.
Yeah. What I really like is this happened to me so much in the past 3 years when I was banned. I'm still AI banned on TikTok like you, face ban. So I have to get Twitch back, yada, yada. But during the YouTube ban, especially, when they would call up and they do these Piers Morgan type interviews, is to be like, "Oh, you deny the Holocaust, you deny the," and then they just want you to say exactly this. And you said it perfectly. I was born in 1998. Why am I supposed to have emotional feelings towards something that didn't happen to my people over almost 100 years ago?
Right.
You know.
Well, yeah, it's just logic. You have to.
Well, because the hatred did not stop, and you people actually are evidence that it's alive and living, and that is basically what happened during World War II against the Jews, existed before World War II and continues to exist after World War II. And it's an evil that we need to keep fighting against. And we need to remember what happened and remind people that that evil is still there. It's interesting because before October 7th, I was telling people on this channel that Jew hatred is a deep-rooted, powerful evil that is living among us, and one day it will have its day and come back with a vengeance. And people, even Jewish people, were telling me that I'm exaggerating, that that's basically just, those days are gone. I remember after October 7th, some of my Jewish friends came to me and told me that I was right, and they were asking me how I knew it. And the thing is that this is not just about Jews, because the Jews are the excuse to come for all of us. The Jews are the excuse to come for all of us, right? Because when you want fascism, when you want full government control, you need to scare people of an evil so that they give you control. And very often the Jews are the evil that they scare you about, that they warn you about, so that you give them the power. And then once they have the power, they come for all of us. So protecting Jews and defending them is not just about defending Jews, it's about defending all of society. And these people obviously don't understand that. Yabs, thank you for the super chat, saying he learned it from Ben Shapiro about peers. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay. Thank you.
But through all of that is like sentimentalist programming, because it just doesn't make any sense logically why you would feel shame over that. It's a social proof.
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
You don't need a fucking retard. The argument, this is a straw man. The argument is not that you should feel ashamed because of it. The argument is that you should learn from it, and you should be warned about the evils that still exist that would want to do the same thing. I mean, it's sitting right next to you, you fucking idiot. That evil is sitting right next to you. That's what those stories meant to warn you about.
I wasn't there.
And it's history.
I mean, look at it. Like in my own chat, somebody is like people are using Jew as an insult. Like, oh, Jew detected. Like they're telling me like, oh my God, we detected the Jew. Like, I mean, doesn't this show that, I mean, and these motherfuckers know. These two fuckers know. You know how I know they know? Because their audience speaks like that against the Jews. Nick's audience and Sneako's audience hates Jews. They want to slaughter Jews. And Sneako knows this because he knows his audience. And Nick knows this because he knows his audience. I mean, they might not talk like that themselves, but they know who follows them. The Muslim population on average hates Jews more than any other population, and Sneako knows that. He reads the comments in his live chats and under his videos. So like, oh, why does this concern us? These motherfuckers both know that if it was up to the people who support them, there would be a genocide against Jews much greater than what happened during the Holocaust. Much, much greater. If it was up to the very people that follow these two motherfuckers, they would make Hitler look like a saint.
Happened.
World War II, 85 million people died in World War II, and we're hung up on the 6 million.
I mean, look at
there
this.
Were other
people are saying, like, people are telling me, oh, shut the fuck up. Okay. But right under it saying, I can't wait. I can't wait. They're saying, I can't wait. I mean, these are the types of comments that I saw in the darkest parts of the web when I was warning people about this existing before October 7th, and now they're everywhere. And now they are the main comments.
In the camps also.
Yeah.
I mean, Hitler put all his enemies in the camps, in concentration camp, concentrating them in one area. He hated Slavs, he hated Poles, and some Catholic priests and gypsies, but we only even ever talk about the 6 million, and people are going to feel shit. Oh, I don't deny that. it's so funny. I remember when I first started like denying it or whatever, you would have like stupid bitches say, he's a Holocaust denier. It's like, tell me even one thing about World War II. Like, you don't know fucking anything about anything. And you're like, this is a dogmatic view that 6 million died. It doesn't make any sense.
The most annoying part was when he tried to shame you because you said, oh, have you been with a woman? You're like, no, I'm waiting till marriage. And Piers Morgan is also a white Catholic. So he knows that you're supposed to wait until marriage. Like if you're going to follow moral consistency as the moral judge, then you waiting to be with a woman who's your wife, that's what you're supposed to do. You're one of the only people that I've seen follow that publicly and not be ashamed of you. Like, yeah, I'm waiting. And he's still like doing this like, oh, you're a virgin, the shaming thing, which is not even morally consistent with his own belief system.
Well, and that's probably my biggest weakness because they're right. Like I am a freak, like I am an eccentric freak and I'm not a normie. But it goes to show that at the end of the day, that is all they have. Like he brings me on to say, well, we're going to properly examine your beliefs. I'm going to put you in the hot seat and I'm going to show that you either are a hater or you're a simpleton or you're a bigot or whatever. And when all of that doesn't work, you played the Holocaust card, the racism card, this, that, the other. At the end of the day, all you have is to attack me as a guy. And what does that say about liberalism? You cannot defend liberalism intellectually. You cannot.
Oh my, what does that say about liberalism? Because retarded Piers Morgan couldn't challenge you? That means liberalism is weak and can't challenge you? You motherfucker, liberalism crushed your ideas. Both of your ideas were destroyed by liberal values, by the superiority of their ways, by their more advanced military and their more technologically advanced weapons and their bigger economy and their superior methods. Their superior classical liberal countries are superior than what both of you have to represent by a huge margin. You're like ants next to an elephant. You know, this is why you lost. This is why the Nazis lost. This is why the communists lost. This is why the Islamic Empire is no more. All three of you have lost. You lost. Nazis lost World War II because liberalism was more powerful. Communists lost the Cold War because liberalism is more powerful. And the Islamic Republic, the Islamic Empire, the Ottomans failed because liberalism is more powerful. You all have been defeated. You have been humiliated. You have been crushed by the superiority of the liberal way. And you're like, come here, like, oh, Crimea River. You Crimea River. You have all been decimated. Where are your fucking armies? There's none. You don't even exist. You have been crushed. And then you come here and you pretend that, oh, you're powerful because Piers Morgan couldn't challenge you. Look at the size of the army of the United States. That's liberalism. Where is your army? Oh, I know. You don't have any because they were all defeated.
Defend it in the battle of ideas. You have to attack the purveyors of the alternative and their life.
The argument is just, oh, you're weird.
Yes.
That's weird. Like a 20-year-old and a 25-year-old, that's weird. That's not a moral argument. That's not even logical. You're just declaring that, and most people believe it for whatever reason. You call yourself a freak. I've got to hang out with you quite a bit. Thanksgiving, we just had dinner, and I've known you for years. What makes you a freak? That you don't want to go ice skating with some chick who's gonna ask you to pay for everything and nag you? Why do you think you're a freak?
Well, I think that I'm just not like I'm not a very social person, and so
you say that, I don't see it. Even really? Just now, yeah, we have it. It's going to be in the vlog that we post. People are coming up to you. These girls were taking photos. Nick's taking a photo with the girl. She's like, I didn't like that one, and she's like she's all excited. I don't see you as antisocial as you let on now.
Well, I think I'm good at like interactions and stuff.
We got a super chat, which is I think, yeah, so it's saying, for Israel supporters overall, always know when anti-Jews have confidence to showcase their devilish deeds. It's better than planning for the unknown. Oh yeah, anti-Jews support their own downfall. Yeah, you're right. Actually, they demonstrate Jew haters always. It's good that they are now open enough for us to see them, because so that we could basically call this out and fight against it. Yeah, you're right. It actually helps us that they're now this open about it.
But I am a bit of a loner, and I'm a monomaniacal.
People who are telling me to go to Israel, like, oh, just move to Israel, in the chat. Like, are you threatening me with a good time? I would love to go live in Israel. I mean, I don't know if I could get a citizenship in Israel, but I would love that. Like, what is that? Like, oh my, go to Israel. Yeah, I would be honored to go to Israel.
Person, like, I am obsessed with politics, and I think people don't get that. People always want to get to the mystery of, like, who is the person? Like, what does your day look like? What do you do for fun? People ask me questions like that, and I feel like SpongeBob when he says fine dining and breathing. It's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not. So I guess that's why I say I'm not like a chill, normal dude that is going to go and get a beer with you and oh yeah, I smoke a little bit sometimes and I'm like a normal guy. I'm preoccupied with this.
See, I don't like the word freak. It's also just that you don't cave to your vices, and that's partly why Chuck Schumer is saying that you have to be condemned, because you can't get honeypotted. You're not going to get got with drugs. You're not going to get got with women. They're not going to tempt you with some sort of deal. You can't be bought or sold, and you can't get got. That doesn't make you a freak. That just means that you have specific morals that you're not going to bend to. I think it's freaky to so many other people because they get into this for other reasons.
That's true. Well, and so many people have met their end because of stuff like that. That's always what gets people fucked up, is especially because of what I do. It is there's so much pressure around this that if you have problems with like alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, then that really exacerbates every other underlying problem, So it's like, for example, let's say I had a family, let's say I have a wife. If somebody comes to my house with a gun, that could like ruin my marriage.
They have leverage.
Yeah. And if I'm a drinker, let's say I'm having trouble with my family, they're fucking with my family, I'm depressed. Okay, now I'm turning to alcohol and drugs to cope.
Jordan Peterson.
Boom, exactly. So, people underestimate it takes a certain type of person to raise a flag against the system, and you kind of have to be monomaniacal.
I think a lot of people see the writing on the wall, and this is the playbook of many world leaders. I know when I say, I said at Fuentes rally too, I think this guy's going to become president. They have that in my Wikipedia. But your obsession and just your dedication to the cause, that's the natural path of a future world leader. Do you disagree?
My God, you're just going to, tickle his balls. Why don't you? Are you going to challenge him on anything that he has said about the Muslim population? You're a Muslim. Like, are you just going to tickle his balls? Are you not going to do anything? He's anti-black and he's been anti-Muslim. You guys are just putting all that aside for the sake of being anti-Jewish. You're not going to challenge him on anything that he has said before, are you?
Yeah. I mean, I would say more than a world leader, a revolutionary.
Okay,
I think that if you're a revolutionary, you have to be that way. It's because, to be a world leader, all you got to do is be groomed and be obedient to the interests or whatever. But to be a revolutionary, you kind of need to be possessed in a sense. And by position, I don't mean that in, I'm not gesturing towards anything supernatural, but I mean, you need to become a vessel. You need to almost become more like, you almost lose your humanity in a sense, because you become kind of like the living embodiment of your ideas, of your vision. And I think that's what it takes.
What about Candace Owens? This is always popping up on my timeline.
Yes, Mossad in the chat said, I told you he's a revolutionary Marxist. Yeah, I mean, being a revolutionary, this is exactly the Islamist, the communist, leftist language. See how similar these people are? They want to be revolutionaries. Revolution against the system, the very system that all our lives have become better because of it. Guys, we if these people are revolutionaries, we need to be anti-revolutionaries. The commies and the woke, they want a revolution against the current world order. The Islamists want a revolution against the current world order, and now these fuckers want a revolution. The woke right also wants a revolution against the world order, and they're all uniting with each other in this revolution. So if you want to maintain peace and order, and prosperity and growth, the likes of which we haven't ever seen before the World War II, the current world order, the current classical liberal world order that we are enjoying right now is responsible for the greatest amount of growth, prosperity, education, access to healthcare, access to education, access to food, peace and prosperity, unlike which the world has ever seen in the 10,000 years of the history of civilization. If you actually like that, if you actually studied history and you realize that this is the best of times, then you have to defend what we have by protecting the world order as it is right now. And you have to fight back against anybody who wants to challenge it. And these are the three forces that want to challenge it: the far left, the woke right, and the Islamists. And two of them are sitting right here.
You had a collab that did not go well.
Yeah.
I don't think so. You guys were, it was a little bit hostile, uncomfortable. And since then she signaled some good things, like saying that she likes that Nick is resisting the Zionist influence. But now it seems like it's heating up a lot, especially with Charlie Kirk. And I see the disagreements with Ian. What's going on? Are you guys ever going to find some common ground? What's happening there?
Oh, Candace, you know, she's really something. I don't know what is going to happen.
All right, let's do the Candace Owens part the next time. Same time tomorrow, unless something big happens. We did half of this video. Same time tomorrow, we're going to do the second half, starting with his opinion, what they talk about Candace Owens. All right, so make sure you follow this channel because we're going to do the rest of this tomorrow, same time tomorrow. But right now, we're going to go in about 30 minutes. We're going to go into our discussion group. So come talk to me and the rest of the people who are here. There's so many of the people who are here. It's a very Zionist group. So if you want to come talk to a whole bunch of Zionists, even if you disagree with us, you could come there and talk to us. Right? So we're going to have a group call in about 30 minutes. So come join us there. I'll see you guys there. And yeah, so somebody's saying free Palestine. Well, that's, again, every time somebody says that, I say that's too expensive. That place is a shithole and free is too expensive. You have to pay me something to take it. All right. So every time somebody says free Palestine, just respond, that's too expensive. I'm not going to take it for free. All right. So let's go, guys. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to hit the bell notification. And don't forget to follow. Yeah, come to join our discussion group. Link in the description, and link is also in the chat. One more time. So I'm gonna go get ready for that, and I'll see you guys there. Okay. I'm Israel Chai, Javid Shah. Mwah. See you guys soon.